Payal, d'où te vient ce surnom de gardienne des microbes?
I was going to tell you a little story about how I got that name, and it was a conference about Indian ferments, and I was talking at it, and I said, I was talking about Indian vinegars, and I said you have to be like a shepherd of microbes and provide the environment that they need, and it stuck. So now I'm called the shepherd of microbes.
Quand est né Kobo? Comment es-tu passé d'études de psychologie à kobo Fermentary?
2018, 1st of July. Fermentation is something that I did for a long time. I think maybe 22, 23 years now. And it was something that my grandmother did a lot. And so it just became natural for me to see what projects she was doing, and always something going on. So it's always been a part of my life. But I studied psychology because I have an interest in learning about human behavior. And I think I can conclude that understanding microbial behavior is a lot more fun than studying human behavior. I think the transition just happened because I was out of a job, and I didn't know what I was going to do, and so I just started doing what brings me joy, which is fermentation. And I guess got put in touch with the right people, and I started production of kombucha, of ginger ale, of all sorts of stuff. And I did that for 2 years before I closed it down. I read about it because it's interesting sometimes, but just in terms of things that affect me. But otherwise, the kobo Fermentary is my full-time job. Yeah.
Présente-nous Candice, l'autre moitié de Kobo.
This is such an interesting question because so Candice is my partner. She's the other half of Kobo, and she's Malaysian Chinese, and she has lived all over the world, and she cooks Mexican food, and so she has restaurants here, and they deliver sandwiches and things like that. So she's been in the food space for a long time now. Yeah. And when I was out of a job, she believed in me before I believed in myself, and so she said in about 2017, you have to do Kobo, and I was still trying to look for another job, or like thinking about going back to university, and it just this just happened, and she kind of lit the fire under my ass to say, okay, come on now, do it, and which she's very good at doing. So she really pushed me to do this and start the Instagram, and I had no interest in it, but she said, no, you have to. If you're starting something in this day and age, you have to be on Instagram. So that's what we did, and so she's a very busy person. She has she's a mom to 2 kids, and she runs the restaurants, and she does a whole bunch of other stuff. So and she's still a part of Kobo, and she does a lot of stuff with me on a daily basis.
Quels étaient tes premiers pas en fermentation?
Easy. It was ginger beer, and I made many different versions, but I was obsessed with it because I used to read about it when I was a kid in books, and then there was one cafe that I used to go to that had some version of that, and I would try and make that at home, and I could never get it, and that was in India before canned ginger ale or ginger beer was available. So and I just got obsessed with it, and my grandmom used to make a different version, which I also really liked, but as I continued to ferment it, it just kept getting more and more complex, and different yeasts, and it was magical. Just the smell of it is like, it's like a high.
Tu partages beaucoup tes savoirs sur tes médias. Ce besoin est-il pour toi essentiel?
It's about sharing. It's about as the fermentation school says, it's about all the bubbles rising together. So it's and there's no gatekeeping. Everybody in the fermentation community is so helpful. Everybody's on their own journey, exploring different things, and it's fascinating how much there's to learn from each other. And I just feel like it's a good way to share that information and just help out. It's like how I would like tell my friend, this is this really good restaurant that you have to go to, or like you have to try this recipe, it's really good. So like that, I want to introduce people to fermentation. And so I was recently on holiday in Goa, and I got at least 3 different people excited about fermentation, and to start with kombucha, with bread kvass, with different things, whatever they're interested in. And so it's a lot of fun for me to be able to say, hey, this is magical, why don't you try it out, it's amazing. So yeah, that's what I do.
En Inde, les fermentations sont-elles connues comme telles, ou est-ce plutôt une tradition?
More leaning on the side of tradition. Now there's a little bit more awareness about it being fermentation, because it's showing up in many different ways that people consume information. So we, like you have cheese and bread and wine, we have yogurt, which we eat more as a savory, in a savory context. Like at the end of a meal, or made into a raita, which is spicy. And so there's yogurt. There's also a whole bunch of pickles that are prepared the traditional way. And in different parts of India, they're called different things, but you might have come across the term achar. And so those are Indian pickles with lots of spices, and so made traditionally, those are all fermented. In fact, the Gujarati word for achar is athanu, and atho means to ferment. So there is there is that information about it being fermented, but a lot of people don't know that that's where it comes from. And then I live in the south of India, and so we have a lot of fermented rice batters that are cooked either as steamed cakes or as dosa, like on a pan, which is like a crepe. Yeah, so those are 3 very interesting and ubiquitous. They're there in almost every household.
Quelles sont tes fermentations indiennes préférées?
My first one would be Kasundi, the mango mustard. You can use like other ingredients. It doesn't have to be mango, but the Kasundi, so good. I make it every year, and I just make like a big batch, and then it's great for gifting, for just having around in the house. And it's such a vibrant yellow color. It's beautiful. Would be the koji dosa. And it was so interesting to see the difference in the batter and how it behaves when you add koji to it. So I want to experiment a little bit more on those lines this year. But there is there's many like chutneys and things like that I've made. But maybe Indian ferments, I would think like a thing called kanji is really great, and it's essentially like a beet kvass from Russia. It's made with black carrots and mustard, and there are different variations of it, so you can make it with different vegetables, and you can add different spices to it, and there's one that I want to make that my mother was telling me about, and it's where you make it in a terracotta pot, but it's smoked, and so you get this smoky flavor to it. So different versions of it, and it's so refreshing.
D'où te viennent toutes tes inspirations? Comment crées-tu?
For me, it's very instinctive. It's almost like it sounds crazy, but it's almost like it tells me what it wants to be turned into, and I don't even think. Sometimes when I'm fermenting, I'm lost in a different world, and I can't tell you if it's been 20 minutes or 2 hours. I can just go and do a bunch of stuff, and it's all instinctive. There's a lot of introspection and thinking that happens, but more on the side of the science behind it and why something works. But even that is quite instinctive for me. And I think it also comes, like the creativity that you're talking about, it comes from me having a differently wired brain. And so I'm able to join the dots between different very strange things sometimes, and it just makes sense to my brain. And I just talk about what I experience. I don't say you should be experiencing this too. I talk about it from my perspective, and I'm just glad that it resonates with so many people, that I'm able to do what I do for my work. I'm incredibly privileged and grateful to be able to do that.
La neurodivergence, tu en parles aussi beaucoup. Comment cela affecte-t-il ton quotidien?
So yes, I do talk about my neurodivergent brain quite openly because I'm blessed with a certain set of skills that make me very good at what I do. But because of the other side of the neurodivergent brain, I have trouble with things that people find very easy to do. But for me, it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of energy to do simple things. But I'm able to explain like how microbes work very instinctively. I don't have a degree in biology, microbiology. I'm not a chef, I'm not a nutritionist. I'm just a psychologist who likes to eat. And so it's very strange that I'm able to do what I'm able to do, but it's because of my neurodivergent brain. And there is no, I talk about it without fear of taboo, because I do feel like education is needed around this. And so my brain is mainly autistic and has ADHD, and so along with a couple of smaller things like dyslexia and dyscalculia, and but they affect my life on a day-to-day basis. So if I am not able to create my world around me in the way that works for my brain, then it's very, very hard for me to function. And so there is a good side to it, and there is a daily struggle. But on the whole, it helps me do what I do, and I have the ability to be able to explain it in a way, just like with fermentation, I explain it in a way that people understand, and I feel that it needs to be talked about. Also because I have the ability to talk and verbalize. Some autistic people don't. And so so I'm very happy to talk about my experience, and if it resonates with anybody, then great. I'm happy to answer more questions.
Ton essence of Christmas est devenue virale. Explique-nous ce que c'est brièvement.
It's how the Germans make blue wine, and I love it, and I make it every year. It's an emotion. It's the smells. It's the feeling of being outside in the cold, holding this warm mug of mulled wine that you're drinking, and I used to make it every year. But what I find is that to make mulled wine, you usually have to use a whole bottle of wine. And if I don't want that much, then it's very hard to make mulled wine just for 1 cup. And that's also a part of my ADHD. So I have to make things easy for me. Otherwise, everything takes way too long. So this way, it's ready, it's fermented. It means it's got, the flavor is extra, The nutrition is extra, the ease is extra. It's it's a no-brainer. Like once you understand and you use it and you smell it, you're like, I have to make this every year. It's just equal amounts of sugar and fruit. And for fruit, I use apples, I use orange, lemons, a bit of ginger, whatever you have access to during the winter. You can also make it very easily yourself, and it's all the nice warm spices like cinnamon, like star anise, some cardamom, some dried ginger, some juniper berries, whatever you have that is nice and warm. Throw it in 1 teaspoon of each, toast it and blitz it up. So and then you just add that in, and you add a little bit of a starter of some sort, like if you have kombucha, if you have water kefir, if you have whey of any sort, any of those will work. Even koji, and then you add that in, and you just let it ferment. You make it around mid-November. By the beginning of December, Advent time, it's ready. You can start celebrating Christmas, and it's so good.
Quel est ton péché mignon?
Oh, I really like a croissant. I really like some Indian sweets, and they are not fermented, but they are, and certainly not healthy for you with the amount of sugar. And the technique that goes into making a lot of these is quite technical, so I appreciate that. And I do enjoy Indian sweets, yeah.
Fermentation builds community.
So 1, 2, 3. Fermentation
builds community.
Great. Thank you very much, Payal.
Thank you.
Hope to see you soon. Bye.
Okay, bye.